We're standing by now for White House correspondent Chip Reid, who's going to join us now. Chip, can you tell us more? We heard a little bit on and off more of what Sean Spicer said today.
Well, I tell you, it was just an amazingly uninformative briefing. First of all, they told us that we would not be able to use the audio, even though it has been used before. As you know, we were not allowed to use it live. Then they said we can only use it after the briefing is over. And Sean Spicer evaded every question that he was asked. He was asked about the Paris Accord and the reports out there, including ours, that he's been told by friends and that President Trump has told friends and confidants that he's going to pull out of the Paris Accord. He was asked if that's true. He said, we'll have an announcement in the next few days, as the president said in his tweet. Has he made his decision yet? I don't know. Will he meet with cabinet members or have some kind of formal process before he makes a decision? I don't know. He went on and like that. And by the way, I'm told you're probably looking at this picture right now of the Prime Minister of Vietnam arriving here at the White House to meet with President Trump, and there is President Trump. And in fact, after less than 12 minutes, Sean Spicer cut this briefing off so that he could go back and be in the vicinity of President Trump while he is meeting with the leader of Vietnam. But we really did not get any clarification on anything in this briefing. There were other topics. For example, James Comey reports that James Comey is going to be testifying possibly next week before Congress. He had no clarification on that. It really it makes you wonder why he even does these briefings when he just has absolutely nothing to add.
Looking at these live images you mentioned of the Vietnamese Prime Minister, I want to ask you, I heard briefly, heard some of the audio, Chip. I know you were in the room for the entire time, but one of the reporters asked Sean Spicer about Ted Nugent, who once had called for President Obama to be killed, why the president chose to invite him to the White House. What was Sean Spicer's response to that?
He really had no response. He simply said that I don't remember the incidents. Again, he just completely evaded the question. The big question was basically, you have this horrible, vile situation where the comedian whose name I forget right now held up what was supposed to look like Donald Trump's head.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kathy Griffin, holding what looked like Donald Trump's head. And this reporter said, well, Ted Nugent was invited to the White House by President Trump, and he, in the past, has said that both Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama should be killed. Why is that okay? And he said basically that he doesn't remember the particulars of those incidents, and he simply said he had no comment on it. So it was just one more question where he simply had no comment and no clarification or addition to anything we already knew.
And we know the Vietnamese Prime Minister they're meeting today. Anything significant from that to be expected, Chip?
We don't know that either. We're hoping that there will be a spray in there, meaning the cameras go in and they get a few seconds just to spray, and maybe the president will have something to say, but truth is we're not expecting much in the way of news out of that either. I'm not saying there won't be news, I'm just saying they will do their best not to tell us.
Yeah. Chip, you've covered so many administrations over the years. Going back to this gaggle as far as having it off camera, can you explain sort of why they chose to do that and why parts were edited today and were not allowed to be broadcast?
Well, all of it can be broadcast afterwards, as I understand it. There was a lot of confusion just minutes before the briefing as to whether we could use it, because in the notice that they put out, my understanding is it actually said not for broadcast, which would mean that you can't put it on the radio or any place else. You can't use the sound in any way. They then reached a compromise of sorts where they said you can use it, but only after it's over. So you might want to check into this before you use it, but my understanding is it's all fair game, but there's very little to use there that is of any significance. It's not unusual. In the old days, that's what they used to do. There used to be off-camera pen and pad gaggles. They do them in the press secretary's office. And if they want to do that, that's fine. That's their choice. but they kind of, let us know it's going to be in the briefing room. The audio will be put out on lines, but you can't use it.
Yeah.
So it's really just a matter of them not quite planning ahead and knowing what exactly it is that they want to do, and causing a lot of confusion.
Gotcha.
But certainly in the old days, before the Clinton administration, they didn't do these briefings televised.
Yeah.
Mike McCurry, to this day, regrets having made the decision to put them on camera.
Interesting to hear you say that. Before we let you go, just really quickly, we're knowing now that Comey has been green-lighted to testify. What more can you tell us that we're hearing about that?
Well, all I can tell you is we were hoping to get some clarification on that here, and he had nothing to add. My understanding is that he will be talking about his notes that he took, contemporaneous notes that he took right after his meetings with President Trump, but he's not going to be talking about the investigation itself. He's going to be talking about his involvement. That could change. There could be modifications to that in the coming days, but it will certainly be limited testimony, but very interesting testimony, because those notes, what we've seen of them so far, are pretty powerful stuff.
Absolutely. Those notes will be a fascinating briefing hearing to hear. Chip Reid coming to us. We know you got to get into possibly a spray. We'll let you go, Chip.
Okay. Thank you, Rena.